This is the Morning Drive Podcast from Double T 97.3, presented by Cantex Roofing and Construction.
I'm Mike Hebert, owner of Cantex Roofing and Construction. Every day is game day, and we'll get it right when it comes to your roofing, construction, windows, and mirrors. Call Cantex Roofing and Construction today. Together, we are one serving you.
5 punts, 49-yard average for Skates, and here he goes. Puts his foot into it. This one a wobbler towards the right side of the field. Welker takes it at the 11. He's going to try to get to the right sideline, breaks the tackle. He's got running room at the 30, the 35-40. He's the midfield, the 45-40. He may go. 25, 10, touchdown Red Raiders. Oh my goodness. 89 yards on the punt return, and Tech has the lead.
My day's made.
We can go home now, right?
If we're going to talk about Wes, I got to play the return, right?
Sure.
You know, I think a lot of people, when they think about Brian Jensen as the radio play-by-play voice of the Red Raiders, you know, would comment on how awesome of a job he did on the Crabtree catch and on the Garibay kick against Iowa State, and would be 100% accurate. I think that right there is Brian Jensen's best call ever. That's the one that I love the most. That one to me is so incredibly good, and I love the crack in his voice. I love the excitement. You can tell he's just calm at the beginning, thinking, here we go, just a normal punt return, and then it amps up. That gives me chills. I love that one. I think Brian just absolutely crushed it.
It's interesting that you say that, because I think when Wes was in town to be inducted into the Texas Tech Hall of Fame, Jensen was talking about that on the pregame show here on Double T 97.3, and he credits that play and Wes Welker for him being accepted as the play-by-play announcer for Texas Tech, as he had taken over for Jack Dale. And he said before that, you know, he was the new guy, but that particular call kind of pushed him over the edge and endeared him to many, many, many people. I
remember you telling us that story previously when he told that story on air, and I completely, I never felt like, I mean, to be honest with you, I never listened to Red Raider sports before I was a Red Raider. Okay. And so I don't have the memories of Jack Dale, a bunch of them that a lot of people have. But Jensen, so I have some of them, but not as many as most. So I think I liked Jensen from the get-go. Thought he was great on air and all that good stuff. But it was that one that I was just like, oh man, that one was, to me, just, again, like, runs a chill up my spine.
Sure.
Gives me the happy feels.
Sure.
You know, that's the first one I can remember like that, where it was so incredibly awesome. I mean, it's sad to me that when we hear the Zach Thomas interception, I mean, it's like, it seems like we can never find the radio call.
Yeah,
right?
I don't know
the TV call.
I don't know that the radio call exists unless somebody has it.
Yeah, I mean, I would love to hear that.
And if you do, feel free to email us.
I would love to hear that.
Yeah.
But that's just one that Jensen just absolutely crushed, and it probably factors in that it was a time in my life when I was living in East Texas and let's just say was overly annoyed by Aggie fans. And I was at that game, and it was one of the most fun moments of my life. So that probably factors in as well. So, I mean, I didn't even hear it live, but the moment, the picture that we all see with Welker running down the sideline and the Red Raider in the middle of the Aggie core with his guns up. I mean, I want to be that guy. I mean, it's just such an iconic moment, I think, in Tech sports. And I think I've told you guys this before, that my favorite part of that whole game is when, you know, we go to overtime, and the Aggies get the ball first, and they score a touchdown, and they miss the extra point, and their fans just leave. They get up in droves and head out because they knew they had no chance to stop Kingsbury on our offense. No chance. They knew as soon as they missed the extra point, game over.
Let's head to the lot,
game
sweetheart.
Over.
Yep.
And these people just started pouring out of there because our offense was so good at that point that they could not stop us, and it was awesome. It was awesome. And I had been talked trash to all day long by these people, all day long. And I am not a trash talker. I don't go back. I just sit there and take it. And these people just got up and left after their team missed the extra point, and I had the biggest smile on my face. Man, it was such a good day. I got so sunburned.
6:37 this morning here on the Morning Drive. Thoughts, comments, Yates Flooring Center chat line. Go to doublet973.com for that, of the mobile app. I'm not going to bore you with a ton of these. I may give you some throughout the morning, but I'm not going to laundry list them. But there's a number of prop bets for the Super Bowl. Okay, so if you're looking for a couple of ones just to kind of get you started, or if you're just going to a party and you need something to talk about, the Eagles are getting 1.5 points in the ball game. And according to this article on CBS Sports, the Eagles cover in 54% of simulations. Okay. So that gives you maybe a little bit of a head up there. The over right now, according to this article, is 49 points. Okay. The over hits in 54% of simulations. Okay. The Eagles, they project the Eagles to score 27 points, which is over their projected total of 23.5. That's what the line is, or was, that when this article was published. So just a couple of prop bets for you if you'd like to think about that for the Super Bowl on Sunday. And as Jeff said, our coverage will start on Sunday afternoon at 1 o'clock. So if you're out doing whatever it is that you're doing, running errands, or just working in your yard or doing stuff, then you can tune in here to Double T 97.3 and 100.7 The Score. I don't usually give you the weather forecast, but I'm curious as to how nice it's going to be and what I'm not going to experience outside on Sunday. Let's see, the forecast, 49 degrees, so partly sunny. Tomorrow it's going to be 78. So
yeah, it's crazy how this week we went 80s, 60s.
Oh gosh, 90,
80s, yeah. And end of the week, I see it's going to be back below 50 again. So it's typical Lubbock this time of year, I think.
Yeah, right. Yeah. 49 degrees. It's perfect football watching weather.
I don't think the weather has anything to do with
it. Really doesn't.
Maybe if it's terrible outside, it makes you feel better about not going out there.
You know what, Jamie? I don't think
anybody's worried about the weather on Super Bowl Sunday.
To be quite honest with you, and totally honest with you, it has never entered my mind what the weather is outside in terms of how it's going to impact my Super Bowl Sunday. It could be.
Yeah, you just gave us the weather forecast.
But there's others. There's others that maybe it's important to. It's not always. I know this will shock you. It's not always about me, Jamie.
The Morning Drive podcast from Double T 97.3 is presented by Cantex Roofing and Construction.
Today is Friday, February the 7th, 2025. Here's Jeff McGuire with this day in sports history.
1949, where we will start. Joe DiMaggio becomes the first $100,000 a year baseball player when he signs a new contract with the New York Yankees. 1970, Greg Lowry scores a career-high 35 as Texas Tech earns their third victory of a 5-game win streak, beating Texas 81-69.
Nice.
1987, U.S. Male Figure Skating Championship was won by Brian Boitano. 1998, NHL's Dallas Stars retire Neil Broughton's number 7. Now, he was mainly known for playing for the North Stars when they were in Minnesota, but it was the Dallas Stars that retired his number.
I think Broughton.
Is it Broughton?
Broughton, Chuck? I think Neil Broughton.
Neil Broughton. Yeah, I believe so.
And in 2023, LeBron James scores 38 points to become the NBA's all-time leading scorer as the Lakers down 133-130 at Oklahoma City Thunder. In Los Angeles, he surpasses Kareem Abdul-Jabbar with 38,387. That's obviously in a career. If it was in a game, that would be really, really bad. Like, that would be a record or something.
Yeah.
It is National Fettuccine Alfredo Day.
I am out. I don't care for it. I don't like white sauce. The only really kind of noodles I like are spaghetti noodles.
I like all noodles. I'm not a white sauce guy though, but I like all noodles. The rest of my family loves the fettuccine Alfredo, chicken, all that.
All that stuff. Yeah. No.
I actually prefer white sauce with noodles than red sauce.
Really?
Yeah, I'll take the red.
I'll take the red.
That's good. It makes more for each of us, Jeff. It works well.
Exactly. Big time. Happy birthday. Former Texas Tech quarterback Billy Joe Tolliver, 59 today.
Wow. How about that?
And former Texas Tech sharpshooter Matt Mooney, 28. Chris Rock is 60. Ashton Kutcher is 47. Garth Brooks, 63. Matthew Stafford, 37. Steve Nash, 51. James Spader, 65. Juwan Howard, 52. And Shedeur Sanders is 23.
I think I feel like you are slighting Matt Mooney by
He's
just
a
calling him a
sharpshooter?
sharpshooter. I think he's a great defender.
Oh,
I know you're not trying.
I agree with you when you say sharpshooter. Yeah,
like I think sharpshooter, and I think I mean, no
all he
offense, that's what he does, right? That's all he does. He's a shooter. Okay, I think Matt Mooney was a great ball player. I mean, if you remember early in his first year, he was really, really good at distributing the ball. It wasn't until later on in the season where he became more aggressive, looking for his own shot. But I thought he was a great defender as well. And so I feel like you're kind of limiting him. And again, I know you didn't mean it as a negative because he is a great shooter.
Yes.
Yeah, he was a great shooter. But
he's not just a sharpshooter.
Yeah, I felt like he was more than just that.
And on this day, 1984, while in orbit 170 miles above Earth, Navy Captain Bruce McCandless becomes the first human being to perform an untethered spacewalk when he exits the U.S. Space Shuttle Challenger and maneuvers freely with a bulky white jetpack of his own design. He orbited the Earth in tangent with the shuttle at speeds greater than 17,500 miles per hour, the speed at which satellites normally orbit the Earth, and flew up to 320 feet away from Challenger. After an hour and a half of testing and flying the jet-powered backpack, he safely re-entered the shuttle.
I mean, it's just crazy. I mean,
that's the iconic picture of the space suit that's in nothing but black behind it when he's turned around at the. I think that was at the 300 feet mark where he turned around and they got that picture.
It's crazy. Yeah, absolutely crazy. Just think of the fortitude that you would have to do something like that.
Yeah, no doubt.
But I mean, he did it. He did it himself. You know. He made it himself, as Jeff said. It reminds me of the story of a POW from Vietnam who was shot down and then was in captive for several years. I want to say 6 or 7 years. And so one day he was at a function. He was speaking. And this gentleman goes up to speak to him and talk to him, introduce himself, and the pilot who had been in the POW and said, "And what did you do in the war, sir?" And he said, "I packed your parachute."
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
That was pretty powerful.
That is this day's sports history.
Some revisionist history by the senator from Alabama and the former head football coach at Texas Tech. He made a claim. You know, we all have stories sometimes that get embellished over the years, but this is just a flat out lie. He was on a television program, the Megyn Kelly Show. I don't know where that airs. I don't know that I've ever seen it. I'm familiar with her name. And he said, with regard to Patrick Mahomes, she said that he had coached Patrick. And he said, well, what happened was I recruited him and then I left and went to another school, but I got to be very good friends with him. He's not just a good athlete. He's a very good example for a lot of our youth across this country. A lot of that is true. What is not true, and Patrick Mahomes basically came back and said, he did not recruit me at the time. I don't remember if I ever got to meet him or not.
Yeah, I wonder if Coach Tuberville is like thinking, well, I can get away with the fact that he was on our radar and we knew of him and we were paying attention to him. I mean, the part about them becoming good friends is obviously not accurate. If Mahomes is like, I don't know if I've ever met the dude before.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, so I wonder if he's trying to get away with, we knew who he was. We saw he was a good player or something when he was young, or I don't know, but goodness gracious, what? A politician lie?
What are we doing here?
What
are we doing here?
What? That's so shocking. I expect those people to be so honest.
Per a fact check by the Cover 3 podcast, I'm not familiar with them, okay? But the Pod 3, the fact check says this. Mahomes was recruited by Texas Tech a month after Tuberville left for the University of Cincinnati, at which point the quarterback the program had been recruiting, DJ Gillen, decommitted. I wonder whatever happened to that guy. Mahomes went on to play for Texas Tech from 2014 to 2016 for Texas Tech before being drafted by the Chiefs in 2017. The senator from Alabama. It's crazy to think that he became a senator. It's just, it kind of still blows me away that he got enough. But I mean, he was a politician. I mean, that's really what he did best, was shaking hands and kissing babies. You know, he won his fair share at
I was gonna say
at Auburn.
Football game.
He won a lot of football games. 6:53 this morning here on the morning drive. Marquise says, less than never embellish. Somebody says DJ had a mediocre career at Kentucky, I think. Do you think DJ Gillen goes, I was going to go to Texas Tech, but I thought other of it, and the guy they replaced me with was Patrick Mahomes. That's how good I was.
Maybe. He probably didn't even know until all that. Could have been me.
And I'm aware that the president had claimed that Tuberville had recruited and coached Patrick, but still, Tuberville still has an obligation to say, no, that wasn't me. I wish it had been me, but it wasn't. I recruited a lot of great players over the years. Hey, I was in the movie Blindside. Did you know that? You could have said that. That was accurate. But he did not. He did not go and have piece of pie with Patrick's family.
Your daily dose of sports and fun. This is the Morning Drive Podcast from Double T 97.3, presented by Cantex Roofing and Construction.
This morning here on the Morning Drive with Jamie Lent and Jeff McGuire, I'm Chuck Heinz. We get this. It's a little chippy this morning. You guys need to choose joy, or just think about, hey, it's a big weekend of basketball. We got Super Bowl Sunday. This, Chuck, I agree, the days really feel longer than usual. I think it's because it's been so warm. Okay, that's maybe a possibility.
Maybe.
Yeah, that's maybe a possibility. This statement right here has got a lot in it. As a Tech alum, I love Tech sports, but basically I listen in the morning so I can tell my grandkids I listened the day Chuck and Jeff killed each other while Jamie showed no emotion, and it was all live on the radio. And then Jamie responded, anything can happen. From here it's possible. Yes. I love how you tied that in there. From here it's possible. That was really good.
Yeah.
Don't turn the channel. You might miss it. Yeah. I have never really felt like I was going to kill Jeff. I mean, strangle, maybe he might strangle me. I mean, but we would never, like...
I think you can kill somebody by strangling them.
I know, but I mean, I think I'd stop short of that.
Oh, you think you would?
Yeah.
I
think Jeff's strong.
It's good to know.
I don't think I have that. I don't have that capability.
I have no intention of killing Chuck. That's not on my radar.
Well,
beat some sense into him from time to time, maybe, but we're not going to. I need him showing up to work the next day.
While you two deny your part of it, I will continue to sit here and say, yes, while it happens, I probably will just sit here and do nothing.
So Tech and Arizona play tomorrow. And I was thinking about this, and then I went back and looked at one thing and went, yeah, I think that's a fair statement. We'll have the game for you at 8:30. The tip's at 9:30. They've moved it back a half an hour. But think about January the 18th. you're coming off of a win over Kansas State where it wasn't the prettiest, but it was a win, right? Mm-hmm. And then the game before that was the game where I think Coach McCaslin was as frustrated with his defense as maybe he had been all season long, and also frustrated, I think, just with how they ended that game with. Not that Iowa State wanted it more. I think that they expected to win. I think that's what and he got onto his team about that and talked to them about that and talked about it in the media and talked about their defense and things along those lines. And you come back and you play K-State, you hold them to 57. But I think we really started being impressed with the defense with the 54 points that you held Arizona to. And I think you've just kind of rolled forward from that point on.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, since then your defense has been really, really good.
Yeah,
no question. I think he was frustrated after that Iowa State game. I think he was really frustrated after the UCF game as well with their perimeter defense, and you've seen the team really improve in that area since then. But he spoke about his team, or he has spoken about his team since then, about that they're enjoying playing defense now. It feels like they're definitely more into it than they were before. So it does feel like Coach McCaslin was really upset then and has gotten his guys to buy in more to the defensive end since then. And that's one of the things that gives me a lot of hope for this team, is that it's been really impressive, is that there's days where you definitely can win with your offense, and you've done that. But there's been other days, K-State game is a great example, where you're truly winning with your defense, right? I mean, you scored, 61 points in that game.
That's right.
You're definitely winning with your defense as well. But then that's what makes this team versatile. That's what makes them scary, is that on any given day they can win in different ways.
In the previous Arizona game back on January the 18th, Arizona went 3 of 18 from beyond the arc and 1 of 12 in the second half. I mean, it's not
I would guess that's not going to be the same.
Yeah, right. I mean, the Red Raiders weren't much better from distance. They were 6 of 23. And both teams were able to get to the free throw line a ton. Arizona was 15 of 19 from the free throw line, and the Red Raiders were 16 of 18 from the free throw line. So that's a lot of free throws when you think about it. It's 37, and the two teams combined to go 31 of 37 from the free throw line. Probably points in the paint is going to be a big thing. Can you deny inside? Arizona had 28. You had 22 the last time, and the other thing that you really did a great job of, you did a great job of getting offensive rebounds, because you outscored them with second chance points 15-5. And
big number there.
And limited them to 8 offensive rebounds, and you had 16 offensive rebounds. So that's another big number there too, and that goes back to, well, they're putting up a lot of threes. I mean, you did 2, but you made 3 more shots, but some of those long rebounds that come off the 3, sometimes the ball goes your way.
Yeah.
And Tech out rebounded them. Defensively, 34-26, and offensively, 16-8. So if you out rebounded them by 16 rebounds. That's a ton. In a Division I men's basketball game.
And if memory serves me correctly, Federico was really good in that game. That was one of those games where you really saw his plus minus be high and him really have a big impact.
Yeah, I don't have his plus minus, but he had 8 points and 8 rebounds, had an assist, had a turnover, had a block shot, and was 2 of 3 from the field and 4 of 4 from the free throw line, and had 5 of your 16 offensive rebounds.
Yeah.
And JT Toppin had 6 of your 16. And I guess that's a question going into tomorrow, is what's his availability? And you're hoping that, with the extra time, the extra day of not playing on Wednesday and playing on Tuesday, that gives you a little bit of extra time to rehab it.
You're almost not playing till Sunday.
Right, yeah, right. No, you're right. So
it's
Wednesday, Thursday, Fridays. So basically, he said by the time you get there, it's 4 days since you played. So everybody should be very well rested.
Yeah, and obviously you've been able to play well when he wasn't at 100%. You've been able to play well even when he wasn't on the court in these games when he's been injured. But you definitely want to have him out there, because he's a difference maker, and he was he was big in that win against Arizona the first time offensively, and offensive rebounds, like you were just talking about there. He was big. That you just need that inside-out presence, and he gives you such a good inside presence that opens things up for your shooters on the outside.
But it's a huge game. I mean, it's massive just because of not that you're, and it's a fun, massive game, because sometimes you say, well, it's a huge game because you got your back against the wall and you're trying to fight your way to get into the tournament or fight your way to relevancy, or, trying to, playing for a better seed. No, you're playing for the chance to get yourself at the top of the Big 12 and maybe win a regular season conference title.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, this feels like one of those games where you have the ability to say, yes, we're in this fight, or nah, we're probably going to finish a little bit short on the outside, right, when it comes to Big 12 championship. If you win this game, you absolutely have to think, man, we've got a shot to win this thing.
Absolutely. And
you still have plenty of work to do, and there's some tough teams ahead of you on the schedule and all that good stuff. But man, if you win this one tomorrow, Sunday morning, I mean, it's going to be, you have to say, and then again, like I was talking about earlier, when it comes to seeding for the NCAA tournament, I mean, that's a major win to add to your resume on the road against a top 25 team.
Am I the only one, and this may be crazy, because Arizona's a good team, you're playing on the road, Big 12 road wins are hard, I don't care who you're playing. I expect to win this game. You're a better team than Arizona is. You've already proved it once.
Yeah, that's a great point.
The voters have already, the AP voters are looking at it. 13-20, while there's not a big difference, there is a difference there.
Yeah, I don't expect to win this game. I packed house. I think they're a good team. I think you're the better team, but I don't think you're that much better on the road. I don't expect to win this game.
7:24 this morning here on the Morning Drive. Hey, Morning Drive shout out. I met some Morning Drive listeners last night when I was out. Blas, Emma, and Sophia. Okay. All big Morning Drive listeners. They're on their way to school this morning. Blas, Jamie, told me that he feels like that your life and his life are very similar because he has two daughters. They're younger than your daughters. You guys are the same age. He said, my birthday's a couple days ahead of Jamie.
Well, happy birthday coming up.
So thanks for listening, and thanks for the conversation last night. Enjoyed meeting you guys.
The Morning Drive podcast from Double T 97.3 is presented by Cantex Roofing and Construction. Jamie's question of the day on Double T 97.3 is brought to you by Connecticut of West Texas.
Okay, I think I've got a pretty simple one for you guys today. Lots of different answers for this one. There are no wrong answers.
I love it when we can do like an essay as opposed to multiple guess. I was always better at the essay questions.
Okay, that fits your personality.
Yeah.
I don't know which I was better at. I definitely preferred the multiple guess.
Okay.
Just because I wanted to get it over with.
Well, the problem with the multiple guess is I could always, I see that, and I see that, and I see that, and so.
Yeah. You seem like an essay guy.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's good.
It was better for me.
All right, so my simple question for you today is about tomorrow night's men's basketball game. Tell me what you think will be the key stat in this game, the key one that's going to decide which team ends up winning.
Oh, that's good. I like that question because I usually try to come up with with my in-depth analysis, try to come up with a key number on the women's side. So I haven't done this on the men's side. I think it's the team that makes the most threes wins the ball game.
That makes the most threes.
Makes the most threes.
The way your defense can just shut people down and force turnovers, I'm going points off turnovers.
Okay. I think I'm closer to Chuck. I'm not exactly with Chuck, though. I'm at 3-point percentage.
Okay.
I think the Red Raiders have to shoot well behind the arc in this game, but it can't be like you made 9 and they only made 7. They were 7 of 20 and you were 9 for 29.
Okay.
Okay. Mm-hmm. You know, you have to shoot it and shoot it well. That's my opinion. Just so, I think the 3-point shot is really big in this game because I think both teams have plenty of talent in the interior and will score and will get their paint touches and score in the paint, all that good stuff. So they'll get lots of paints in the point.
I know you said that on purpose. I know you did.
That was so fun when you said that. But I just feel like where I think we have the advantage is our 3-point shooting. Mm-hmm. And so I think by picking the 3-point shooting, both of us, mm-hmm. I'm just going to speak for myself though. Maybe it's like a hope, feeling like we have an advantage there. If we take advantage of it, that could be the difference.
So Texas Tech in Big 12 play is averaging 8.9, so 9 made threes a game. Your opponents are averaging 6 made threes a game. Tech has put up 273 attempts. Your opponents 211 attempts. That's a significant, number there. At 62 less, and you've played 11 games, so about 5 less attempts a game. For Arizona, coming into this basketball game, in Big 12 play only, they average making 7.5 threes a game, so give them 8. But their opponents average 8 threes a game. Mm-hmm. And their opponents have shot 289 attempts, and Arizona only 237 attempts. So what is that, 62 less attempts. So Tech has shot more attempts than their opponent, and Arizona has shot less attempts than their opponent. And they give up, and their 3-point defense isn't very good. I mean, they give up 8, but you could say, well, the percentage is less. Okay, I got you on that. But they have a propensity to give up threes.
Okay.
And then I don't have the points in the paint number, and I wish all these teams would do the specialty numbers, because I take the time to do that. On the women's side, they give us that number, and then I generally do it for the opponent and break it out. But I don't know that the points off turnovers is going to be as big a factor here, because it wasn't the last time. It was, Arizona had 14 points off turnovers, and Texas Tech had 7 points off turnovers. Maybe it will.
I think if one team is really bad in this game, mm-hmm. it definitely could mm-hmm. be the difference maker. Yeah, and you would worry if I'm not saying I think this is going to happen, but you would worry if you felt like the atmosphere is going to be too much for your team, that maybe you'd get a lot of points off turnovers, that they would turn it over and you'd get the points off turnovers. I don't think the atmosphere will be too big for this team, but if either one of them has a bad day taking care of the basketball, it wouldn't surprise me at all if that factored in. I feel like that stat is just like in football, where it's a pretty universal one that in any given day, it can decide the game. It really can. No matter who the two teams are, it can it can make a difference in a game. But it feels like the Red Raiders have done a good job taking care of the basketball this year. And there hasn't been a ton of points off of turnovers that have hurt them. So hopefully that it stays that way on Saturday.
So Arizona averages 10.5 turnovers a game. Their opponents average 11.4. So they have about an extra possession when it comes to that. As far as Texas Tech is concerned. No, I'm sorry. That was the Tech number. 10.5 for Tech. Your opponent's 11.4, and then. As far as Arizona, let me get that number for you. Arizona turnovers, it's pretty close, 10.5 and 11.5. So it's even. Yeah, it's even. So
both teams doing a pretty good job.
Jeff may turn out to be right on that. The other thing is Arizona has outscored, and it just comes as no surprise. They've outscored their opponent in both the first and the second half. When you've only lost one game, you're gonna do that. The margin is 418, 360, 449, 422. So 27 points in the second half. And Texas Tech coming in Big 12 play, pretty close. 410, 365, 404, 352. So it's an evenly matched game.
Yeah.
Evenly matched game. The Red Raiders averaged 4 in double figures, including the 14.7. This is in Big 12 play by Chance McMillan, Darion Williams at 12.8, and JT Toppin at 12.5. And then there's Elijah Hawkins at 11.7, and Christian Anderson right behind him at 9.2. So the capability of making the 3-ball is pretty high for this Red Raider basketball team. 7:40.
This is the Morning Drive Podcast from Double T 97.3, presented by Cantex Roofing and Construction.
It's amazing how a couple little comments can derail the best of plans, right? Big Huey, I don't think Big Huey's a fan of mine because he's very critical, but that's okay.
I think Big Huey's just got a little bite to him. I think he has fun goofing on us. Yeah, I think he equal opportunity.
Big
chippy guy.
Big Huey and Bobby Hot Dogs are I think they're the same person. Refusing to learn something on YouTube is what I'd expect from a guy who refused to learn how to connect his phone to his car. No, my phone is connected to my car and has been for quite some time.
But did you refuse to learn how to do it, or did somebody do it for you?
I think if I remember correctly, Chuck refused to read his owner's manual on how to do it.
Yeah.
I thought you said the son-in-law did it.
He might have, or the guy at the phone store, when it gets disconnected.
So his statement is not necessarily accurate.
Yeah.
Or, not necessarily inaccurate.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, there's times when I would just rather write a check and make it go away. Or was it learning to do your radio presets? That's that too. That's fair. That's a fair comment. Mark says rant and rave day today, Chuck. I thought that was yesterday. No. I mean, I don't feel like I'm ranting and raving today. Mm-hmm. Chuck doesn't know everything, and he knows it. That's correct. But he does have an opinion on everything. That is correct. I think there were times when people said to me, you don't have to have an opinion on everything. But now I do have to have an opinion on everything. He goes on to say, I can respect that. You go, Chuck. Thank you. You don't. I think like in grade school and
who said you have to have an opinion on everything?
Well, I mean, to do this program, I think you have to have an opinion.
Well, there's plenty of times you ask me stuff. I'm like, I don't really have an opinion. I'm fine either way.
Right, and then I go ahead and give you mine.
Yeah. I think I tend to let things bother me a little bit less than you do.
That's probably fair.
Yeah.
D-Rock says this, also can confirm Bobby Hot Dogs and Big Huey are not the same person. Okay, good to know. Good to know. I thought maybe they were incognito with each other. So, at any rate. All right. What do you think the big key is for the Super Bowl on Sunday? Is it as simple as the Chiefs have to stop Saquon Barkley and the Eagles have to keep Patrick Mahomes from making big explosive plays, whether on the ground or in the air?
Okay, so definitely the Chiefs' key is to slow down Saquon Barkley, right, and try to force the Eagles to be a more one-dimensional team. And Barkley's been such a great player for them this year that the Eagles haven't really been awesome throwing the football this year. Jalen Hurts has been pretty pedestrian. His numbers are pretty pedestrian, but they really got their passing game going in the in the game against the Commanders in the NFC title game. But and I think he's got the receivers to do it. They just they play a style of offense that kind of fits. Hey, we have a really good defense, so let's not turn the ball over a bunch. Let's not try to do too much. Let's shorten these games, run the ball, and all that. So yeah, I think definitely for the Chiefs, you got to stop the run. I think this is really boring, but I think on the Eagles side of things, the key to that for them is to be able to run the football, because that Chiefs defense is really, really good. And if you can run the football, then you have a chance to limit Mahomes' his touches and Mahomes' magic and all the above. And so if you can run the football, then you have the opportunity to, as I said before, kind of shorten the game and keep Mahomes away from doing what he does. And so, their offense is not explosive by any stretch of the imagination this year, the Chiefs. It's not, but they don't turn the ball over. They play good. They similar to what we talked about the Eagles. They do a good job of playing, hey, we have a really good defense, so why take a bunch of stupid chances? So they both do kind of the similar things in that regard. So I just think the running game of the Eagles is so incredibly important in this game. Like who's going to win the battle up front when the Eagles are on offense and the Chiefs are on defense? Because it's two great in their own way, a defense and an offense. It's good on good here, and that, to me, that's the decider in this game.
I was listening last night to Double T 97.3, and the guys that were on were analyzing the Super Bowl, and one of the, and I forget who it was. He was a defensive player, but the host said, should the Chiefs put a spy, or should the Eagles put a spy on Patrick Mahomes? And he's like, well, I don't think you should necessarily put a spy on him every play, but I think there's selective times when you could put a spy on him, because the point that they were making is that Mahomes has this uncanny ability at times to make a big run when they need it to sustain a drive, and that may be something that the Eagles they're well aware of it. I mean, because they're watching a ton of film, right? But he does have that uncanny ability to kind of keep a drive going, or get a key first down, or make a play, and sometimes that's just kind of how it is.
Yeah, I don't necessarily agree with that completely as far as needing a spy on him. He's not the kind of running quarterback that I think he's not per se a running quarterback. He's a great scrambling quarterback that turns him into some big plays. And so what I mean by that, like, he's not a Lamar Jackson that you really, really fear his explosiveness. I think what Buffalo did terribly was rush lane discipline. Okay. They continued to let him get out of the pocket to his right side. Okay. And so I think and he was able to escape the rush to the right, and then either throw and have a clear passing lane and throw, or be able to run the football. And so I think if you're better in your rush lane discipline, you don't have to keep a spy for Patrick Mahomes. That being said, you're absolutely right in that he hurt. He's always had a uncanny knack of being able to do that. But it's different to me than like an elite runner like a Lamar Jackson. I just think Mahomes, as we've always talked about, he likes to get out of the pocket so he can buy himself some more time and throw. And I thought Buffalo did a terrible job of, especially because it was Buffalo's defense's left side, so Mahomes' right. They continued to force him to his right, which is what he does the best.
He wants to do, yeah.
But he does the best. So if the Eagles are better at containing him and keeping him in the pocket, I don't think they're as worried about him if they force him to the middle, of him taking off up the middle as much and hurting him, as they are, him escaping the pocket and being able to make plays. And he's so incredibly good at doing that.
Going to the sideline. And the point wasn't that it would be dedicating a spy. It would be just being very selective, but then you're guessing. Then you're guessing. Mm-hmm. The other thing is, and it's so simple to say this, but it's like, you've got to figure out a way to keep Travis Kelce from hurting you. And it's like everybody knows that, yet somehow or another he always finds himself open in a key moment. For whatever reason. Because
he's a really good route runner, and he's a super smart player, and him and Mahomes, just like, it's like they're in the same brain. They know what each other is going to do. Yeah, I mean, Travis Kelce's smarts are phenomenal. I mean, he's a good athlete, don't get me wrong, but he thinks the game, and he just knows how to get open. That guy's he's a genius as far as that is, it feels like.
There's a part of me that wonders, because when Tom Brady was trying to have the perfect season, and it comes up short because they lose the Super Bowl, that these historic moments, so to speak, you wonder, okay, is this one of those ones that falls short? Not, that would, because you're playing a really good team, obviously, but there's no given here, obviously, with the three-peat, but I have this sense that it's like, okay, it's going as close as the Chiefs have played every single game, a one-score game. At some point in time, does that come back to bite you, or is that just how this season is going to be written? That's what we're going to find out on Sunday. And if it comes down to a kick, Butker's had a wonky knee, so you kind of wonder, does he have...
Jake Elliott's been terrible.
And Jake Elliott's not been very good, so...
Yeah.
This has been the Morning Drive Podcast, presented by Cantex Roofing and Construction. Check out our library of Double T 97.3 podcasts at doublet97.3.com.